Hi Aries, welcome to Sophquest. I'm back. I took a week of rest and recovery, relaxation, because I needed it very much after my treatment, so thank you for being patient. But I'm back and we've got two great decks to talk about the week of October 18th through the 24th. First of all, the Crystal Visions Tarot by Jennifer Galasso, called to me this week, and the Oracle of Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed with the art of Jenna Della Guertaglia. I'm a big fan. So we're going to use those two decks today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the week. Starting off on Monday, there are a couple of planets that are going direct. And the last time I talked to you guys, right around the new moon, we had a couple planets going direct, right? We had Pluto and Saturn going direct. Well, this week on the 18th, we've got Mercury, yay, going direct. It helps us to think straight, communications to run more smoothly. So that's stationing to go direct Monday. It takes some time, guys. It's never like a curtain that falls. It takes a few days to sort of get back up into its momentum. But also on the same day, Jupiter is moving forward, and that's fantastic. So we're coming out of this gigantic time, this 4 or 5 months of all these big outer planetary influences in retrograde, and now moving us forward and helping us progress, which is awesome. So I think that that is an interesting thing, and I think we're going to go over things about the full moon as we go through the reading, because I think they'll come up for different people and different signs depending. This is your full moon though, Aries, right? Full moon in Aries on the 20th, which will be Wednesday, so it's a big full moon for you. Huge, right? Huge. Any issues that you were dealing with probably in April around your new moon can maybe finally come to closure. Some things you've been working on, Aries, with this full moon. And it's a letting go process. It's like the moon waxes and gets really big, and it helps us to really become enlightened to what it is that we need to do. It wakes us up. Okay. Wow, Aries. Okay, so this might be a little deep for you this week, but I think it's an important week. And I think it's a week that we should not only expect that the Pluto square is going to help the transformation in our lives that needs to happen, but also to be okay with it. To not be afraid of it, right? To not be afraid of what comes up. To not be afraid to allow the Chiron and Aries to help heal us, because there is an opposition this week to Chiron. The full moon is an opposition, which means that it's going to bring real enlightenment to the things that you are trying to heal inside, that you've been trying to heal for a long time now. And I think finally it is the shedding process. And I think you're going to feel differently, Aries, right? It's probably been coming to a head, right? And then the full moon, it's like it comes to its full head and then you release it. And that's what I'm also seeing in your oracles today. So let's look at that. I'm going to pull also your 9 card now. We're going to read horizontally, vertically, and big picture. All right. So if you'd settle in with me, Aries, take a few deep cleansing breaths, because it actually really helps to lower the cortisol, relieve some stress, and make you feel better. Get some oxygen to the brain. Wow. Yep. We talked about this at the Libra new moon, which is your opposite axis new moon. You know, the Libra Aries axis is a very important axis for all of us, not just you, Aries. Because Aries, your sign, your house is about the self, the I am presence. And Libra is about the we, right? It's the me and the we. And so it's very much about how we act in relationships, how we have our own empowerment in relationships with the square to Pluto right now. And if you have not been actively having a romantic sexual relationship with someone, it can be about other relationships, right? Your friends, your family, all relationships, basically. All right, so Aries today, let's look at these cards. These are big, okay, Aries? Buckle up. Stay if you're brave, and stay if you want to work on it. If you're actually self-questing, right? And you want to do some inner work and finally release, right? It's really a time of release, and I think that that's going to be very, very important for you. I did want to set a timer for all my videos this week so I know where I am. All right. Very good. Now, let's go over I'm going to show you every card on the table, okay? We have imperfect harmony, It's about you being you in the company of others and allowing yourself to be exactly who you are, but just as much to let everybody else be exactly who they are. Because that's the way that we really actually get into synergy, as if we're all instruments in an orchestra playing some symphonic, beautiful thing, right, together. Then I have Waking the Lion. Waking the Lion is about really opening up to your courage. But not just that, but that fierce feeling of your I am presence, Aries. That, know thyself feeling. And how you want to establish yourself in the company of others. Stepping forward as you. Then we have a tall tale. You can see on this card it's Pinocchio. So I think that this is asking you that if you were, okay, here's what I mean. This is what I'm seeing. It's so interesting. In my mind, I'm seeing a person sitting in front of a mirror interviewing themselves. That's what I just saw, Aries. And usually when I do your reading, Aries, it kind of sets up the theme or the understanding that I get when I do my streaming. That's what I call it. It usually helps me to set up the theme that I want to talk about in the rest of the readings for the week, because I kind of get that download. And that is what I'm seeing. If we were to interview ourselves and we were to ask ourselves some questions, what questions would we ask? Like Barbara Walters, right, or Oprah, they were always known for interviewing someone to the point where it would bring tears to their eyes, because they allowed themselves to be vulnerable and talk about the things that they didn't even realize were maybe pivotal or pinnacle moments in their lives that kind of set them up to become or to be the person that they are. The person that they were, the person that they are, and the person they want to be. And that evocative way of interviewing oneself or asking oneself the deeper questions to know, how is it that I want to take this time in my own life story, in the history of my life, to allow for the transformation that I really want. And ask yourself maybe 3 important questions. I don't know what those questions are for you, Aries. But if you sat down tonight and you took a few moments and you ask yourself, what 3 questions would I ask myself if I was interviewing myself for CNN or for, whatever, on the news or Oprah show. If I wanted to answer questions about who I am, what 3 questions would I ask myself in order to evoke responses from myself that help to tell the life story that I actually want to live? So what is your life story in your mind, and what part of your life story was the sticking point that you want to change now? Because this is an auspicious time for you to change that. It's not anything bad necessarily. It just may be sort of an up-leveling, right? I say we grow up, then we grow inward. So if you're growing inwardly, you're really challenging yourself to maybe look at things differently. It's like you can be in the company of others and still be you and be accepted. You don't need validation. You don't need permission, right? But neither does anyone else. This is a card about non-judgment. And this is a card about when we really get that sort of universal understanding of love, we accept others as they are. And then we can also accept ourselves as we are. We can get that part of our yang energy and exert it in a way that isn't overly assertive or overly aggressive or obnoxious or any of that, right? It's just the yang part of ourselves that has a deep desire to live out the life story we want to live and to be okay with that part of yourself. And with Tall Tale, it's really about the parts of yourself, the parts of your life that haven't felt like you, that haven't felt like you were living the real you. Pinocchio, the story of Pinocchio, isn't about the fact that he lied and his nose grew. I mean, there have been so many studies and so many, percentages about how many people in the world actually lie. And basically everyone does, like, about something, right? They lie about something to someone, usually a little white lie, or they tell themselves a lie about themselves. Like they say, I'm so stupid, or I'm so ugly, or whatever they say to themselves. Those are lies. And the truth of the matter is, that's not the gist, right? The most important part of the Pinocchio story is that he went from being this wooden puppet into becoming flesh and blood, a deeper, truer, more authentic self. And the reason that he was able to become the real boy is that he became authentic to himself. He didn't just have to tell the truth to others. First, he had to tell the truth to himself so that he could relay it to others. So he could see himself as a real boy and not have to impress, not have to be validated. And that's what I'm kind of getting from this. That is not an easy thing for all of us to do, for any of us to do. It's just not. We grew up in a society where we're taught how to behave. We're taught what the rules are, right? What society expects of us. And then we play that out. But in times like these, right now, when there's a big shift from the old order sort of to the new, right? That old Saturn way of living life and the Uranus way of living life, because we're changing into a new age where individualistically we have the freedom to be who we are, and societally we have the liberty, right, to live and let live. The United States is in a Pluto return as well. And when our country began and the Declaration was signed, at that time they were breaking away from, the sovereignty, the Church of England, to becoming, a nation that had the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom, and a democracy. So the United States is going through this kind of return. It will, I think it perfects in February of 2022. But that's just, I'm a United States citizen, so I'm mentioning it because Pluto changes things, right? Pluto is about transformation. And transformation takes power. It takes empowerment. It takes someone standing up and saying, I am, I can, and I will. But in order to do that without revolution and guns blazing, and right now, by the way, on the 18th this week, the first day of the week, with Mercury starting to inch forward, we've got a bit of a standstill as it stations to go direct. Also with Jupiter, that's very still energy that really opens our mind, because Mercury is the 3D mind, right? The reality of Earth mind. Jupiter is the higher mind. Takes it out to the planets, out to the universe and beyond. So it's us elevating the way that we think and seeing things with better vision and a bigger picture. And that's what you're doing, Aries. And I'm spending a lot of time on these oracles for you because this is your full moon. It's your full moon, and you can allow yourself to transform into who you want to be. Page of Pentacles, learning as you go. Pentacles is the suit of earth. This is tangible, something that you're beginning to change. With Temperance, and this is interesting that Temperance is here for you today, with the Two of Cups. This is internally, under the deck, the subconscious coming up to be revisited in your mind or to be enlightened, right? The subconscious stuff going on. You're trying to really learn how to temper what it is that you need in your relationships. How to be you, how to let the other person be them. Two of Cups. I see you and accept you as you are. You see me and accept me as I am. Right? And with Temperance, it's that perfect balance of energies, or what I call synergy. Right? The balance of energies. And you're learning how to do this in a way that brings more ease for you and brings about better results, more intimacy, when you can be your authentic self, more real from within, because you're allowing that part of you that needs to impress or needs others to validate you or accept you or, approve of you. None of that is apropos for you anymore, Aries. But you also don't want to be like so overly aggressive that you start arguing with people. Well, here's the way I feel about it, right? It's not that. These planets moving forward are about the mind, about the way that we think and about the way that we talk to each other, how we communicate with each other. Let's go across the top. 6 of Cups, the way it was done in the past, 9 of Cups, may have brought you what you wanted, but was it good for everybody else? So in other words, maybe you, like everybody else on the planet, were thinking of yourself and not necessarily of the others when you went forward in relationship to get your needs met. When we want to get our needs met, we step forward and we say, well, here's what I want. And if the other people are like, oh yeah, well, here's what I want, and here's what I want, and here's what I... We have to learn how to do that together. We have to learn in every way how to express love through kindness, reverence, gratitude, in those ways. And Aries, I'm not saying this in a condescending way. I'm saying this in a very humane way, right? Humanity itself is going down a divergent path right now. We're either going to war with each other and be completely opposed in this, and have another revolution, or we're going to come together and learn how to talk to each other and learn each other's language. Because in the end, we're all saying the same thing. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be seen. 6 of Wands. We want to be heard. We want to be acknowledged for who we are. Then we have the Devil. But we're tempted, okay? We're tempted to play a part because that's what keeps everything stable. You don't want to rock the boat. King of Pentacles. So this right now is a fine line that I think you're trying to walk with the Temperance card. I think you're trying to understand how to be the best of yourself and get your needs met, right? But also be acknowledged in a way that shows you that you're not just being your authentic self, but you're receiving from the other person their truth, their authenticity. That way, the stability in the relationship can really thrive. So, sorry, don't know how to stop that. Okay, thank you. So it can really thrive. In the past, maybe asking for what you wanted brought discord. But you're recognizing now that there's the problem with it is that, you were just trying to keep everything nice and steady and not rock the boat. You feel like you have to fit in, right, in order to feel okay. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. This is saying, but if you speak up, Knight of Swords, about the give and take, how you speak to someone, how they speak to you, you can come at the feeling of being grounded in a way that's more yin, not so yang. In other words, it's like you make a pizza and you're like, well, I'm hungry, and the other person's like, I'm hungry too. So you eat half the pizza, the other person eats half the pizza. Getting fed isn't necessarily the point, but it's very real. Pentacles, it's very earthly. We have to eat every day. Coming at it from the yin side of it, it's, what do you want on your side of the pizza? Well, here's what I want on my side of the pizza. And then while you're eating the pizza, you're like, hey, have a bite of my pizza and see what you think. Hey, can I have a bite of your pizza? It's a more sharing, caring way. It's not as, getting my needs met. I feel guilty, the Devil, 9 of Cups Devil. I feel guilty getting my needs met. Or I feel, angry or obsessed about other people getting more than me. So it's about you getting your fair share in life, but it's also about others having their fair share in life too. Aries. This is a deep thing. This is about learning temperance in life and in relationship. The true sharing between two souls. You know, I have been saying for a few years now to the people that know me, I've been saying, you know, I think we're going from role-based relationships, you know, where it was teacher-student, husband-wife, you know, whatever the dynamic is, we're going from role-based relationships into more soul-based relationships, where we are truer, deeper, and hopefully kinder and more respectful. So let's go down the vertical. 6 of Cups in the past, 6 of Wands. You really wanted to be acknowledged for who you are. You want to be brave. Right? You're trying to wake up to the part of yourself that isn't yet quite fulfilled. And you're trying to figure out how to make it real, how to exert that part of yourself in the world in a way that doesn't feel selfish or doesn't make you feel guilty or doesn't make you feel false. If you're deferring to everybody else, it feels false. If you're taking only care of yourself, it feels selfish, right? So we looked at that. 9 of Cups, Devil, 6 of Pentacles. Is it selfish? Are you always the giver or are you always the taker? Is it a balance of give and take? How do you not feel this sense of guilt or this sense that it's somehow wrong? This is the center of your reading today, the Devil. This is about dealing with your shadow. The part of yourself that you fear. The part of yourself that makes you feel exposed. The part of yourself that's maybe a little, I don't know, different, taboo. Any other word that you can think of that brings about, in your mind at least, the sense that, uh-oh, it's going to cause trouble. So instead, I've got to be, you know, King of Pentacles. Steady as I go, not rocking the boat, not coming in too hot, not being too much of this lion, not being too much of my Aries, backing off. You want temperance. I'm not saying temperance is bad, it's good. But there's a time when you really just have to say what you need to say and be who you need to be and do both. You can have a very stable, steady, and happy life and still be adventurous and brave and sexy and audacious when you want to be. There is a perfect medium, Aries, and I hope you find it. This week, I think you're going to think about it a lot. And if you do share with someone, if you can open yourself and be completely vulnerable, you're going to realize that you can feel less wooden and stiff about it and feel more ease at being yourself in temperance. 2 of Cups. Ease of conversation. Mars is activated this week. Arguments, ego battles, all of this could totally happen with Pluto. I hope it doesn't. I hope instead you open your soul a little bit to share soul to soul with someone about the things about yourself that you need to conquer when it comes to what you fear or dislike about yourself, what was conditioned, what you want to let go of so that you can be who you are. Aries, I wish you kindness, reverence, and gratitude this week and always, and I will be here for you next week. You take care.